exercise is really designed to move your body really well, to leave you feeling really good, energized, like you've moved your body, but you've also nourished it in a really healthy and happy way. I want you to leave this session feeling really good. All you need for this session is a strap. If you don't have a strap, something like a dressing gown belt or a scarf or a normal belt, just something that has a little bit of length to it, will do absolutely fine. The only other thing that you might need, if you aren't happy being in this kind of kneeling position, if it's a little bit uncomfortable for your knees, would be a cushion or something that you can pop behind your legs, just to give you a little bit more space behind your knees to bolster you when we come down into a child's pose position. So once you've got those little bits nearby, handy, then we're going to get started. And we're going to have our knees wide and our feet together. Lie down into your child's pose and reach your arms forwards. And we're just going to stay here and take some deep breaths. So just allow yourself to fully relax. And just notice if there's anywhere in your body that you're holding tension. And see if you can just let that go. Taking those deep breaths. And imagine with every exhale that you're sinking down deeper into the floor. So we're going to add a little bit of thread the needle here. So keep your left arm where it is, but take your right arm and thread it under through your left arm. Right arm, palm faces up towards the ceiling, and we're in that little thread the needle position here. Again, just taking those deep breaths, getting as much air in with every inhale as you can, and fully exhale. We're going to take that left arm now. We're going to reach that arm away from the floor and then take it behind your back. So right arm is still in that thread the needle position, left arm is wrapped around your back. And then from here, we're still going to keep our arms in this same position, but we're just going to bring our body upright to come into a seated position. So you're in a seated twist. We've got that right arm forward, that left arm back, and just hold here for a couple of breaths. Be seeing if you can get a little bit more rotation with each exhale. And on your next inhale, we're going to release the arms. We're going to take the arms up towards the ceiling. We're going to come through centre and twist to the other side, letting your arms come down again. So left hand this time is going to come down to your knee, and right arm is going to wrap behind. And hold here for a few breaths. So we've just switched sides now. We're going to take our body back down towards the mat. So we're going to keep our right arm behind our back. Then keep that left arm coming across our body and come back down into your child's pose with the thread the needle position of your arm. Left arm, palm faces up towards the ceiling, and again right arm is just wrapped around your back. Hold here for a couple of breaths. Take your right arm now, reach it up and over and bring that right arm all the way back down into the mat. And then we're going to bring that left arm back through as well, reaching your left arm forward so you're back into your child's pose again. From here we're going to come up onto all fours to do cat-cow. So coming onto your hands and knees. Spread your fingers wide and get your thumbs to point towards each other and elbow pits are forwards. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to tuck your bottom under and start to roll through your spine. Move nice and slow. Your head is the last thing to move. Take a breath, and as you exhale, we're going to go the other way. So stick your bottom out and roll in again through your spine, starting with your tailbone and finishing with your head. Let's do a few more of those. Just go at your own pace. Think about that movement rippling up your spine like a wave. And try and let the movement flow. So rather than being all stiff and rigid, can you just allow your spine to move freely? As you come through centre this time, just come on off your hands for a moment. Give your hands a little wriggle, give your hands a little shake. We're going to do reverse prayer hands, so bring the backs of your hands together. Bring your thumbs together and then pull your thumbs away from your fingers. And keeping the backs of the hands together, can you start to lower your hands down? Notice if your shoulders are starting to round, can you let your shoulders open and relax down? And just hold for a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, release your hands. Give your hands a little wriggle. We're going to go back onto all fours. We're going to do our rhomboid push-ups, and then we're going to do some shoulder circles. Now, if you don't want to be on your knees, you can do this seated, okay? So you've got the option there. So if you're on your hands and knees, fingers spread wide, thumbs point towards each other and elbow pits are forwards again. And then you're going to bring your shoulder blades together, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then press your shoulder blades wide. We're going to keep on with that. Shoulder blades squeeze together and then press wide. Try to get as much movement as you can. Notice if when your shoulder blades squeeze together, if they sneak up towards your ears as well, can you try and keep those shoulders down away from your ears? And then let's let the head hang here as well. So head is just hanging as you squeeze the shoulder blades and then press them wide. Have a little look at your elbow pits. Are they being sneaky and rolling in to look at each other? Can you keep those elbow pits forwards as much as you can? And then we're going to hold in the middle there. Bring your head back up so your head is in line with your spine, eyes down on the floor. We're going to do some little circles here with your shoulders. So it might take a minute for your brain to figure out exactly what you're asking your body to do, but can you try and keep your elbows straight and circle your shoulders? And again, if you're on your knees, you can do the same movement here, much easier in that seated position. But can you keep your shoulders, keep your elbows straight and shoulders move? And if you figured it out one way, can you try and reverse and go the other way? Alright, and then we're going to come all the way down onto our front. So coming down to the floor. One hand on top of the other, and you can rest your forehead down onto your hands. Pubic bone anchored into the mat, tailbone slightly tucked to give us some length through that lower back. And we're going to do some hip extension now. You can have your legs hip width apart or squeezing together, whichever feels better for you. And when you're ready, reach one leg away from you. Make that leg as long as you can and allow it to lift away from the floor and then lower down. And we're going to keep switching sides. Reach the leg. Think more about length than lift. Trying to keep your lower back as relaxed as possible. So the work here is in your glutes and hamstrings. So your bottom and the back of your thighs should be doing the work and your back should be soft and relaxed. If you're feeling that your lower back is doing a lot of work, check again that that pubic bone is anchored, that tailbone is tucked. Good.
reaching that leg, make it as long as you can. And then as you lower your leg down this time, we're going to keep the legs down. We're going to bring the hands apart and bring your hands just in front of your shoulders. Elbows are tucked in by your side, forehead resting down on the floor. I'm going to do a little bit of back extension here. So again, notice now if your shoulders are up around your ears, can you roll your shoulders away from your ears? Think about pulling your armpits down towards your waist. And then on an inhale, press your hands into the mat and lift your head away from the floor. Keep your eyes down, so we're keeping length through the back of the neck, and then exhale as you gently lower back down towards the mat. Keep going with this. As you inhale, you're lifting your head away from the floor. As you exhale, you're lowering back down. Again, we don't want to feel any compression or nipping in your lower back. So if it's bothering your lower back again, check that pubic bone, but also check that you aren't thrusting your ribs into the floor. Can you keep your ribs drawn into your body rather than pressing them into the floor? If you want to add a little bit more challenge this time, you can also lift your hands. So keep your elbows tucked in by your side, and you're going to lift the heart, the head, the hands, everything comes up and lowers down. And you've always got the option of keeping your hands down and just not coming up too high. Trying to find this work in your upper back rather than your lower back. Just do a couple more. And as you lower down this time, bring your hands back down onto the floor. Push yourself up and back into your child's pose, into that rest position, just to give your lower back a little stretch. Again, staying in this child's pose, we're going to walk our hands to the right. So walk your hands to the right. Hold here, taking some deep breaths. Seeing if you can really feel that movement on your left side. Can you expand your lungs so much that your rib cage has to expand and you can feel the stretch down your left side? When you're ready, walk your hands in through centre and take them over to the left this time. And again, taking those deep breaths here. Noticing if the movement feels the same on each side. Maybe you feel that you have more movement on one side compared to the other. Just notice. And when you're ready, walk your hands back in through centre. Walk your fingers as far away from you as you can. Get a really big stretch through your shoulders and upper back. And when you're ready, we're going to slowly come on up. And we're going to go over onto our back next. So come onto your back. And we're going to lie down with feet and knees together, knees are bent. Take your arms out to the side, palms are facing up towards the ceiling. Just hold here for a few breaths, allowing your rib cage to relax down, trying to get the back of your rib cage to anchor down into the floor. And remember, if you need a cushion under your head to feel more comfortable or to allow those ribs to relax, then feel free. From here we're going to go into a spine twist, so take a breath. And as you exhale, allow both knees to roll to one side. Inhale as you come through centre and exhale, take it over to the other side. Again, just moving at your own pace. See if you can keep your rib cage anchored and your shoulder blades anchored, so the twist is through the waist, your pelvis is twisting side to side, but your rib cage stays still. So staying with the twisting through the waist. As you come through centre this time, we're going to roll onto our side for the crocodile. So we're going to have that bottom arm out in front, top arm closing the crocodile mouth. Feel free to pop a cushion or a block under your head if you feel that you need some support, and then your knees are bent. Take a moment to get your pelvis in really good alignment. So we want to have the knees together so that your top hip bone is directly above your bottom hip bone and you've not got that top hip rolled back. So take a moment to make sure you're happy with that. And then when you're ready, you're going to reach that top arm forwards first. You're going to take it up towards the ceiling and then start to twist your body, following that hand. Only go as far as you can without losing that alignment. So as soon as your top hip starts to roll back, you've gone too far. So see if you can get a little bit of a twist, or maybe a lot of a twist, through your waist here. So we've just switched it around. Before we were moving the pelvis, and now we're moving the rib cage. Holding in your maximum position for a few breaths. So making sure you've not gone too far, you should still be able to breathe freely and speak in this position. Notice while you're here if there's anywhere that you're gripping and really holding tension. Can you see if you can find a little bit more softness here? And then when you're ready, we're going to start to slowly bring the arm all the way back up and over, closing that crocodile mouth. We're going to do that again. When you're ready, reach that arm forwards. Take it up towards the ceiling, and again taking that arm back behind you. Just let your head go wherever is comfortable. It might want to follow that arm, it might want to stay looking up towards the ceiling. Holding again for a few breaths. And when you're ready, start to bring your arm back up and over. We're going to do one more time on this side. And when you're ready again, you're going to reach and open out. So noticing now on this third pass how it feels. So maybe you've got more movement there. Maybe you're able to get your arm and your shoulder a little bit closer to the floor this time. But remember, you're not forcing that movement. You're never trying to take your body beyond its current boundaries. You're just moving mindfully. So really just notice how every movement feels. And when you're ready, start to slowly bring that arm all the way back up and close your crocodile mouth. Rolling yourself gently onto your back. Take a moment just to reset. Bring your knees into your chest. Give your knees a little hug and just rock gently from side to side. And we're going to do the same on the other side. So when you're ready, rolling onto your other side. And again, finding that crocodile mouth and making sure that your pelvis is in good alignment. When you're ready, start to move again, reaching that top arm forwards and up towards the ceiling and open out behind. Again, just finding your maximum position. Don't try and force anything. Making sure you can still breathe. Is it different on this side to the other side? Just notice. Hold for a few breaths. Noticing again if you are gripping and holding tension anywhere. Check your face. Are you frowning? How about your jaw? Are you clenching your teeth together? Can you relax your jaw? Can you let your shoulders relax? And when you're ready, start to slowly bring that arm back up towards the ceiling and across. When you're ready, go again. Opening out. Notice as you're opening out, is the movement smooth or does it feel kind of jagged? Jagged is a good word to describe it. Does it feel like it flows beautifully, or does it just feel jagged? When you're ready, start to slowly bring that arm back up and over again. Let's do one more time. Reach and open out.
Again, noticing if this third pass of this movement is easier than the first. Have you got more movement there? And when you're ready, again, slowly bring your arm back up towards the ceiling and close the crocodile now. Rolling onto your back again, bring your knees into your chest, give your knees a little hug and just rock gently side to side. From here we're going to go into a little spine curl. So release your legs. Let's have feet flat, knees bent, and our feet and knees are going to be about hip width apart. Bring your arms down by your sides. Palms are going to face down so that you can use your tricep to anchor your arm down into the mat. If you've got anything under your head, just take that out for this next movement. And when you're ready, take a breath in. Tilt your pelvis towards you, and as you exhale, start to slowly peel your spine up away from the floor. Coming up to your maximum position and just hold here. Keep breathing. But notice whether your rib cage is thrusting up towards the ceiling. Is your rib cage higher than your hips? Can you drop your ribs down a little bit, so keeping the ribs into the body and they are not higher than your hip bones. Hold here for another breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to slowly roll your spine back down. I'm going to do that a few more times, so when you're ready, take a breath in. Tilt your pelvis towards you, and as you exhale, slowly roll your hips towards the ceiling, peeling your spine away from the floor. Take a breath at the top, and as you exhale again, slowly roll your spine back down. Keep your eyes on the skies, keeping your neck in really good alignment. As you slowly roll your spine up and down. And again here, we're looking for that smooth flowing movement. So notice whether it feels stiff and rigid or whether it feels loose and free. Do you feel as you roll your spine back down that each part of your spine comes down in turn and anchors down on the mat? Or do you feel that there's an area of your spine that doesn't come in contact with the mat at all? Sometimes, if you're really tight through your lower back, sometimes we don't quite get that lower back all the way down. And if that's you, then maybe you just want to roll through that area of your spine rather than doing the whole all the way up and all the way down. Whichever method, whichever one you have chosen, this is your last time. As your bottom comes down onto the mat this time, bring your knees into your chest, give your knees a little hug, and let's just rock gently side to side. We're going to go back into that same position again, and this time we're going to do the bridge, which means that we don't curl the spine up and down. We keep the spine fairly neutral and fairly flat the whole time. Take a moment to check the position of your pelvis so that both of your hip bones are level, so you're not kind of twisted to begin with. We're going to take a breath in, and as you exhale, press down really firmly into your heels and lift your hips straight up towards the ceiling. Take a breath here, and again as you exhale, you're just going to fold at the hip and lower your bottom straight back down. I'm going to do that a few times. Pressing into your heels to lift your hips to the ceiling, and then folding at the hip and lowering your bottom straight back down. Keep going with that. Again, like when we were doing the hip extension here, we're trying to work the glutes and the hamstrings, so the butt and the back of your thigh should be working pretty hard here. Making sure that the ribs stay down, don't lead with the ribs. And as you come to the top this time, hold it there. So I don't want you to be in your maximum position where it's really tense and tight. Allow your body to just drop down a little bit to find a comfortable position, but you're still away from the floor. And then again, let's just check whether our hip bones are level here. Do you have that level pelvis? Can you maintain that level pelvis as you unweight one foot? So we're going to come up onto the toes of one foot, and then see if you can lift one foot away from the floor without losing that level pelvis. Placing that foot back down, we're going to do the same on the other side. So coming up onto your toes first,
And then can you lift that leg without losing your pelvis? And lower it down. We're going to keep switching sides. So just having a little play with this movement of maintaining that level pelvis as you lift each leg in turn. Again, a lot of work for your glutes and hamstrings, so pressing firmly down into your heel. And if you want to add a little bit more challenge, we can take away the stability of the arms. So if you want to float your arms up towards the ceiling, palms facing in towards each other, and then still try and keep your pelvis level. So it's much more unstable. You don't have your little stabilizers out anymore. How does that feel? Do you feel that your glutes and abdominals have just kind of kicked it up a gear? Couple more. And as you lower your leg this time, lower your bottom. Pull your knees into your chest, give your knees a little hug, and let's just rock gently side to side. One hand on the top of each knee for knee circles, opening your knees wide and circle around. And then reverse and go the other way. And then placing your feet back down onto the floor. So feet and knees are hip width apart again, and we're going to just take a moment to check that we're in that neutral pelvis, so your hip bones and pubic bone are on the same plane and your pelvis isn't tilted towards you. Alright. We're going to maintain that neutral pelvis. As we go into a single knee fold, so take a breath in, and as you exhale, you're just going to bring one leg into that tabletop position. Inhale as you lower that leg down, and exhale as you bring the other leg up. Inhale as you lower down, and exhale on the other side. So we're going to keep switching sides. Pelvis stays still as you bring each leg up in turn. Lifting the leg as you exhale. Trying to recruit those deep low abdominals, so our reflexive core here. So you might notice your abdominals are working. They are working, whether you can feel them or not, so don't worry too much if you're not sure. Alright. As your leg comes up towards the ceiling this time, you're going to hold it there. Take a breath, and on your next exhale, bring that second leg up as well. So we're going to go to toe taps now. So as you inhale, you're going to tap one foot down towards the mat and exhale to bring that leg back to tabletop. Switch sides. Inhale as you lower, exhale as you lift. Keep going. Noticing here, as you bring your leg up, whether your abdominals feel like they're bulging and pushing out, or do they feel like they're drawing in? And we really want them to be drawing in. But I don't want you to force that. I don't want you to purposely pull them in. I just want you to notice what they're doing by themselves, unsupervised. Again, let's add a little bit more challenge with the arms now. Bringing your arms up towards the ceiling, palms facing in towards each other. As you tap one toe down onto the floor, you're going to reach that opposite arm overhead towards the floor behind you, and then pull both back up towards the ceiling. Inhale as you reach arm and leg away. Exhale to pull back in through center. Keep switching sides. Again, noticing what's happening in your abdominals. Does it feel like everything's drawing in as you exhale and you bring that arm and leg back towards the ceiling? Or does it feel like it's bulging out? If it feels like it's bulging out, then I do want you to encourage them to pull in as you exhale. But don't force it. You're not sucking your belly in. Let's do one more of these on each side. And then again, pull your knees into your chest. Give your knees a little hug and just give your abdominals a little break. Releasing your feet back down onto the floor again, so feet flat, knees bent. Back to hip width apart.
We're going to do a knee drop now. So check again that your pelvis is in that level, neutral position. And this time as you inhale, allow one knee to drop out to the side. And exhale as you pull that knee back up towards the ceiling. Switch sides. Inhale, leg drops out. Exhale, pulls back to the ceiling. Now notice as your knee goes out to the side, does your pelvis tip? Can you just take your knee out far enough that your pelvis doesn't shift? So you're kind of looking for your boundary here. And sometimes it helps if you put your hands onto your hip bones just so that you can feel, you can kind of get that feedback of what's happening. Because often what we think is happening in our body is not actually what's happening. Alright, so once you're happy that you've got your range there and you know how much you can drop that knee out without your pelvis rolling, let's add some arms as well. Arms reach up towards the ceiling, palms facing in towards each other. As your knee drops out to the side, the opposite arm is going to also drop out to the side into that T position and then pull back into centre. Again, we inhale as we reach the arm and the leg away, and we exhale as we pull back into centre. Checking in again with your abdominals, so noticing what they're up to. Are they bulging? Or are they drawing in? So it doesn't feel like a big movement, it doesn't look like a big movement, but you are working so hard here. Your abdominals are having to work super hard to maintain that stable pelvis and also to draw that arm and leg back in through centre. Let's do one more of these on each side. And then again, just give your knees a little hug, just a little reset for your lower back and your abdominals. And we're going to roll onto our side for the clown neck. So coming onto your side. Bottom arm can be out long with your head resting there, or you can have your elbow bent, whichever feels better for you. And then knees are bent. Have your feet roughly in line with your spine. And again, take a minute here just to make sure that your pelvis is level and that you haven't got that top hip rolled back. I like to have my hand on my hip bone so that I can feel again, get that feedback that it's not moving. And when you're ready, you're going to keep your feet together and open out that top knee and close it down. It's the same movement that you were just doing on your back, isn't it? It's that knee drop again, but we've just changed the shape of our body. We've just changed the orientation, and also now we're working against gravity. So we're really working these lateral hip muscles. Good, keep going. So it doesn't matter how high that leg lifts, this is really about stable pelvis. Good. We'll do 3 more, making you do quite a few. And then as you lower your leg down this time, we're going to reach the legs out long on the mat, and you can bring them forwards a little bit, just gives you a little bit more stability. And we're going to reach both legs as far away from us as we can, so really pushing out through your heels, making sure again that that top hip hasn't rolled back, and we're going to lift that top leg and lower it down. Think again about your pelvis being nice and stable, so the movement is just the leg moving in the hip socket, and it's not your whole pelvis rocking here. Keep reaching, think about lengthening that leg away, and you're creating your own resistance here. So as you reach that leg away, imagine how heavy that leg is. Imagine that you're in a big vat of treacle here, so it's really hard to lift your leg and it's really hard to lower. 2 more. And then we're going to hold it at hip height, and we're going to do little circles here. So again, keeping your pelvis super still as you circle that leg around. And then can you reverse that circle and go the other way? Keep reaching. Good, and then lowering that leg all the way down. Let's come on up and give that hip a little stretch out. So come on up to seated.
The leg you've just been working, you're going to bring it in towards you and then cross it over to the other side. Sit nice and tall and then twist in towards your bent leg, and you can use your front arm to pull that knee in towards your chest and back arm, just a little bit of a stabiliser behind you. Still sitting tall, you don't want to be just collapsing and dropping down here. And if you want to add that a little bit more, instead of having that free leg out long, you can bend that knee to bring that leg down by your side. Make sure that you can get both sit bones anchored and that it's not a really uncomfortable position for you. And if it is, just pop that leg forwards again. Couple more breaths here. And then we're going to switch sides. So coming down onto your other side. And again, we're going into that clam position first. Knees bent, feet roughly in line with your spine. And again, checking your pelvis. And those hip bones. Feet stay together as you open out. And notice, is it the same on this side? Because it might not be. Good. We're going to do 5 more. And when you finish that last one, reach your legs out long, and again you can kick them forwards to give you a little bit of stability, pushing out through your heels, make those legs as long as you can. And when you're ready, we're going to lift and lower that top leg. Remember again, it's the thigh bone moving in the hip socket, it's not your whole pelvis dropping, yeah? Creating that resistance. Remember, you're in that treacle. And you can lift as high as you want to, as long as you can maintain that stable pelvis. Are you ready for circles? As you lift to hip height this time, hold it there, keep reaching that leg long and circle. Now you might find that it's not quite a circle, it might be some kind of strange mutated circle, and that's okay. That's because that's what mine's like on this side. And then reverse, go the other way. Again, keeping your pelvis as still as you can as you circle your leg around. And when you're ready, lowering that leg all the way down. Gives you that little sneaky hip stretch. And then we're going to come up to seated again and do our hip stretch on this side. Leg out long. Bring your leg in towards you. Cross it over the other side and sit tall. Twist in towards your bent leg, and again use your arm to scoop it in and pull it towards you. And sit tall. Again, you can keep your free leg out long, or you can bend it and bring it around. Whichever feels better for you. And again, it might be different one side to the other, and that's okay. Alright, and then let it go. We're going to come down onto our front now. So come back down onto your front, and we're going to do a quad stretch. So I'm going to bend one knee. Take your hand back and see if you can grab your ankle here. And then you can allow the rest of your body to be fairly relaxed. You can let your head rest down if you wish. Now notice, in getting into this quad stretch, have you had to lift your hips away from the floor? And if so, can you try and find more space through the front of your hip to allow your pelvis to relax back down towards the floor? Remember not to force anything. We want to use our breath to release tension and tightness. Good. Couple more breaths here. And then we're going to release that leg, and we're going to do the same on the other side. So can you bend the other leg and reach your other hand back and grab your ankle again here.
So I always try and encourage you to grab your ankle rather than your foot, because you're going to get a better stretch if you can reach your ankle. Obviously there's a lot of movement that you can do at your ankle and your foot, so that you could kind of get around some of the tension through your thigh by kind of collapsing your foot. So by grabbing at the ankle, you're kind of bypassing that extra movable bit so that you're going to get a good stretch. While you're here again, notice whether your hip bones have had to leave the floor to get you to this position. And see if you can anchor your pelvis back down onto the floor. Again, don't force it. We're looking for release. So taking those deep breaths, and with each exhale, see if you can sink down deeper into the floor. When you're ready, we're going to release that leg. We're going to go back to the other side, and we're going to do that inner thigh stretch. So we're going to bend the knee and slide it out to the side. Now, once you're here, I want you to notice again, have you had to lift your hip bones away from the floor, but also have you hitched that hip up? So if you were to find your hip bones, would one be higher than the other? So can you try and find that level pelvis? And again, we're looking for space through the front of the hip. So as you take deep breaths, as you exhale, can you sink down deeper? So this movement is so good for the mobility of your hip joints, for releasing tension through your inner thighs. So we're going to straighten that leg out now. So the leg that's bent out to the side, just straighten it out instead. And again, once you've straightened that leg out, notice whether you have hitched your hip up. Can you think about maybe sending that hip away from you to keep your hip bones level? And just noticing if it feels different now. Few more breaths. Good. And then when you're ready, just bend that knee and bring that leg in. We're going to do the same on the other side. So bending your other knee out to the side, slide it along the floor. And again, once you're there, just taking a moment to notice the position of your pelvis. So is that hip bone miles away from the floor, or is it not too far away from the floor? Is it the same on this side? Have you had to hitch your hip up on that side? Can you think about sending your hip down towards the bottom of the mat maybe? Couple more breaths here. And then when you're ready, you're going to just straighten out that leg. Again, just noticing, have you had to change the position of your pelvis? Is your pelvis still anchored, or have you had to kind of roll almost onto one side?
Couple more breaths here. And when you're ready, you're going to bend that knee just to drag that leg back in. Push yourself up and back again into your child's pose, into that rest position, just to give your back a little stretch. And then we're going to go onto our back again. So grab your strap and we're going to do the strap stretch. So placing the strap around one foot. It wants to be at the base of your toes, at the ball of your foot, so that you can move your foot around. And then your other leg is out long on the floor. Get that leg in the strap as straight as you can. Pressing your heel away, pulling the front of the foot towards you. And we're looking for that neutral pelvis again. So notice, when you've brought that leg up in the strap, has your pelvis tipped back too? And you try and keep a neutral level pelvis. How about those hip bones? Have you had to hitch that hip up? So is one hip bone now higher than the other? Can you check that? And then we're going to hold here, taking some deep breaths. Scanning through your body again for tension. Is there anywhere that you are gripping and holding onto? So again, checking for frown lines. Can you soften the muscles of your face? Can you let your teeth part so that there's no tension through your jaw? How about neck and shoulders? Can you let your neck and shoulders relax? If you're finding it a lot of stress with your arms holding that leg in place, you can wrap your strap around your hands and then just let your arms hang so that it's a bit more of a passive stretch, a passive movement for your arms. This leg that's in the strap is fully supported with that strap, so you can let this leg relax. Notice if the front of your thigh is like iron, it's gripping really tight. Can you try and let the front of your thigh relax? Maybe give it a little prod. See if you can get it to switch off. So that if you were to let go of your strap, your leg would just drop because it's only the strap that's holding it there. And then if it feels okay for you, bring your leg across your body. Still pulling the front of the foot towards you, still pressing your heel away. And if it doesn't feel nice to bring that leg across, just keep it in centre. And then bring your leg back in through centre, slightly turn out from your hip joint and take the leg out to the side. We're maintaining that pelvis again, so if you take that leg too far, you're going to tip and tilt your pelvis. So try and keep both hip bones level and pointing straight up to the sky. And then when you're ready, we're going to bring that leg back in through centre and we're going to switch and pop the strap onto your other leg. Again, free leg out long, leg in the strap as straight as possible and pulling the front of the foot towards you whilst pressing your heel away. Let that leg be floppy and relaxed, so just the strap holding it there. Do your little scan again, so check in that you aren't frowning at me. Let your face be soft. Let your jaw relax, neck and shoulders. Check your thigh again. If that leg is floppy and just held by the strap, those quads should be fairly relaxed, so check and give those a little prod. See what they're up to. Still pulling the front of the foot towards you. How about if you bring that leg across your body on this side? And then bring that leg back in through centre, slightly turn out from your hip and take the leg out to the side again. Pelvis stay still, hip bones pointing to the sky, no tipping. Few breaths. And when you're ready, bringing that leg back up towards the ceiling. And we're going to bend that leg and get rid of your strap. Pop your strap down. Lengthen your legs out long, reach your arms overhead and stretch from your fingertips to your toes. Make yourself as long as you can. We're going to go into our crescent stretch from here. So walk your feet to the right and then walk your arms and upper body also to the right. So you're in a banana shape or crescent shape. Now you can stay here if that already feels like enough stretch down your left side. Or if you want to, you can pick up your left leg and cross your left ankle over your right. You want to add a little bit more to your upper body. With your right hand, grab your left wrist and just give it a little pull. Check in with your rib cage here now. Quite often when your arms are overhead like this, it will make you want to thrust and lift your ribs up. So can you get those ribs to relax down? And if you're struggling, you can bring your arms up and away from the floor, or you can pop a cushion under your head, giving space for those ribs to drop down. Taking some deep breaths here. Again, we're trying to really move the rib cage with the breath to give us even more space. We're trying to get rid of tightness and tension and all of that kind of compression that we create through the day. We're trying to find some more length and space. Couple more breaths here. And when you're ready, release your arms first, just taking the load off. Uncross your legs and walk your legs through centre and over to the left this time. So to the left. Take your arms up and overhead again and then walk your arms and upper body also to the left. Again, you're in your banana shape here. Stay here if that's enough on this side, or picking up your right leg, cross your right ankle over your left. And if you want to add the extra upper body stretch, with your left hand grab your right wrist and again just give it that little extra stretch. Once you're there, check those ribs. Notice if the back of the rib cage is lifting away from the floor. Can you try and anchor it down? And taking those deep breaths again. Creating even more of a stretch by using your breath. When you're ready, release your arms first. Walk your legs back in through centre and then move in slowly, bending your knees one at a time. And bring your knees into your chest. Give your knees a little hug and just rock gently side to side. Ironing out any tension, releasing your lower back into the floor. Releasing your feet back down onto the floor, feet and knees together again for our spine twist. Open your arms out to the sides, palms facing up towards the ceiling. Take a breath. As you exhale, allow both knees to roll to one side, and if it feels okay to you, turn your head the opposite way to your knees. Inhale as you come through centre and exhale over to the other side. Again, just moving at your own pace from one side to the other. Keeping the back of your ribs and your shoulders anchored down onto the floor. And when you're back in through centre this time, holding it there, we're going to gently come on up to seated. So take your time and come on up to find a seated position.
We're only going to be here for a minute, so don't worry too much. Alright, just gently turn your head side to side. Let's do some little shoulder circles here. So just try to get as much movement through your shoulders as you can. And maybe reverse that circle and go the other way. Alright, coming back in through centre now. As you inhale, I want you to bring your shoulders up around your ears, and then exhale, drop it down. See how good that feels to have that space. Do that again. As you inhale, bring your shoulders up, creating all of that tension and tightness, and then exhale, let it go. Do that one more time. Inhale, bring it up, and exhale, drop it down. You guys are done. Thank you so much for joining.